Already problematic that all of the diss records and the songs that these brothers are making to tear each other up in public are being profited by white-owned record labels.
What's good, cousins? Thank you so much for tuning in on today's episode. And if you're joining for the very first time, I see you. Thank you all so much for your constant support. DJ Vlad is going viral for threatening a black woman on Twitter who had told him to mind his business and stay out of black people's business. He voiced his opinion on Twitter about the current beef going on between Kendrick and Drake, and he said in his tweet that Kendrick's Not Like Us that he had released needed a better mix. It takes away from the song. And this black woman who happens to be a professor at Princeton University replied and said, "You're white. This is black folk affair." And this got DJ Vlad pissed, and he started tweeting on how he's going to contact the school that this woman works, and even asked her if that is the way they tell white kids in their school to shut up and not say anything about hip-hop. People came at DJ Bláck so bad, like, what do you mean that you're going to call this professor school because she told you to stay out of black people's business? He was forced to backtrack what he had said when people started coming at him. He released another tweet and said, "Since it's Monday, let me clear the air and state that I never had any intention of filing a complaint to Princeton for former professor Morgan Jenkins saying that white people aren't allowed to comment on Kendrick Lamar's music. She trolled me and I trolled her back. At the end of the day, it created an interesting discussion about race relations in America. I will be discussing it further in my future interview." People are so pissed at the fact that he felt he had the audacity to threaten this woman's place of work, and they are reacting to it. I have put together all of these clips, so without wasting much time, let's get right into it.
DJ Vlad's response to a black woman telling him to stay out of black people's business is such a poetic example of a leopard never changes his spots. And the fact that y'all need to stop inviting everybody to the cookout. Because no matter how much they're immersed in black culture, no matter how much they benefit from being immersed in black culture, they're always going to factory reset to their default setting. Because this is very much Karen behavior. I don't like what a black woman said to critique what I said, so I'm going to threaten her livelihood. So while you benefit from black culture, you want to take food out of the mouths of black people whose culture it actually is? Which, by the way, her critique was actually quite relevant and poignant, given the fact that the beat on Not Like Us was purposely done and so well executed to center black culture in California, Compton specifically. So you telling us how you felt about the beat really is not meaningful, because we understand the history of hip-hop and why he made the choice to use the beat that he used. So again, this is a black folk affair. Why are you here? But until y'all stop allowing white folks to center themselves in conversations about black people, we will continue to see this, because that's all he ever did.
Good morning. I saw something very disturbing when it comes to this Kendrick and Drake back and forth. And it has nothing to do with Kendrick and Drake. So if you're familiar with DJ Vlad, who built a career off of black culture, and he is not black, he decided to attack a black woman's job because she told him this is a black space. No, but seriously, DJ Vlad literally got mad because she said, "You are white, this is a black folk affair." And he decided to start tagging Princeton, where she works, and says that he's going to reach out to them on Monday because she told him this is a black folk affair. That's it. She didn't call him out his name. She didn't call him any racial slurs. Nothing. She said this is a black folk affair. And he decides to go after her job. This man built a career off of black culture. He is not black. And he feels uncomfortable. He feels attacked because he is being told by someone in a culture he does not belong to, is saying that this ain't for you. Stay out of it. Now, historically speaking, in this country, black people existing in black spaces at some point was illegal. Black gatherings, black whisperings, black traditions, all were illegal in this country, to the point that white violence was allowed to thrive whenever black people existed in black spaces. And so what does Vlad do? He becomes his ancestors' wildest dreams and decides to attack a black woman who said this is a black space. It's a very colonizer thing to do. I truly hope that hip hop artists are paying attention to what this man is doing because he is a guest into Black culture. He is not of Black culture. And he is trying to get a Black woman fired for talking about her culture and saying, this is our space. This is not for you to chime in. This is our space. That's all she said. And he feels the punishment for saying that you do not exist in our space is to get her fired. That's extreme. But yes, I truly hope you Black artists stop going to Vlad. Do not go where you are not celebrated, but tolerated. I want to point out that most people who think like Vlad don't do this to other cultures, but mainly Black culture.
I don't want to hear what no one non-African got to say about the Drake and Kendrick beef. It's already problematic that all of the diss records and the songs that these brothers are making to tear each other up in public are being profited by white-owned record labels. But then on top of that, we got the white-owned culture vulture podcasts and blogs trying to tell Black people how to feel about a culture that don't involve them at all. When y'all was young, did y'all ever notice that some white tea people know more about hip-hop than we do? Like, they got YouTube channels and all this that are dedicated to dissecting every bar that Kendrick Lamar drops, and they know every member of the Wu-Tang Clan's catalog. You ever wonder why white tea people are so interested and know so much about our culture? I mean, we Black, we just enjoy it, we listen to it, and then we move on to the next thing. It's the overseer in them. It is just them doing what their ancestors did and not letting us have our own culture because they have to know what we're doing in order to keep control over us. That's why you see so much cultural appropriation. Every time we come up with a word that they don't understand, they need to adopt and appropriate that lingo because they feel threatened by the fact that they think we might be saying something about them that they don't understand. They make it a point to study our culture because they feel threatened by anything that we do and they don't understand. This ain't nothing new, but DJ Vlad gotta go for what he said about that sister.
Just a reminder, it's okay to set your ego aside and say, all right, I might be wrong here, or there might be more to this than I'm seeing. And I'm talking specifically here about DJ Vlad on Twitter, who, like many of us, is following this Drake and Kendrick Lamar situation. And like many of us, is giving his opinion. And unlike many of us, is established as someone who knows a lot about hip hop and spends a lot of time discussing hip hop. And so, on the surface, of course, his opinions are valid. And I'm not really here to say whether or not they are. But what we're talking about here is a Black woman responded to something that he said and said something along the lines of like, stay out of this. This is not necessarily about white people. This is ours. And as someone who is who he is and occupies the space he does, you would think that the reasonable response would be to come back and say, I can see why you are tired of voices like mine and faces like mine being the most prominent ones in these discussions, especially when we're talking about this particular back and forth that has involved a lot of really heavy allegations and a lot of things that really don't involve us white folks, even as fans. I'm not in a conversation about colorism or about the validity of someone's Blackness or even about the complexities around relationships between Black men and white women. Some things are not ours to talk about. And that doesn't mean you can't have opinions or you can't talk about them. But when someone says holy shit, can you stop being the one that's talking about this? Can you let the people who are involved with this be the ones to talk about it and be the loudest voices? It is okay for you to say, I can see why you, as someone who is in this space that was created by folks for themselves because they were shut out of other opportunities by us, I can see why you might not want us to be the loudest voice or to be the face that everyone is referring back to. And so rather than saying that, DJ Vlad came back at her with these I guess threatening, I can't believe a Princeton would allow one of their employees to talk to me this way or something along those lines. And I'm paraphrasing because I'm not reading it right now. But the attitude to come back at was pretty disappointing from someone who I would think would understand the larger nuance of what was happening as someone who is active in the hip hop space. It is okay to just be you know what? Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. It's okay to say that. It's okay to do that. It's fine. It's okay.
So DJ Vladimir made a statement that said he never had any intention of filing a complaint against the magically melanated female professor at Princeton because she questioned why DJ Vladimir was giving his input in the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef. So he comes out and said he didn't have any intentions on filing a complaint against her. But he was tweeting at Princeton as he was responding and replying to her. Dog, you already did file a complaint. But when you were adding Princeton, talking about that magically melanated female professor at Princeton. So now cats getting on your dome, rightfully so. Now you want to come out and say that because they're getting on your dome. My thing is that magically melanated artists shouldn't get on your show ever again. I don't know why they was getting on your show anyway, because you've shown who you are. You've shown what your agenda is. And it's to promote and to keep up consternation amongst us. Even though these cats go on your show and talk to you and say things to incriminate themselves because you're a good interviewer. So, as far as I'm concerned, I still won't watch the show, DJ Vladimir. I don't know why they keep going on your show. And you're lying, dog. Yes, you did. Because you basically filed a complaint against that queen every time you added Princeton. So keep that, my boy. We're not that gullible, guy. All of us are not gullible. Okay? Okay. All praises to the Most High.
This particular conversation is just giving the irony of it all, because this woman had tweeted and said, "You are white. Stay out of black folks' business." If he had just stepped a little back, we are not going to be having this conversation right now. And I love the fact that this woman was still standing on what she said. What do you mean by "I have no intention of threatening or filing a complaint to your school," when you already put out a tweet literally tagging this same school? So what does it mean, like, "I have no intention," when you already did it? And I feel like he's coming back to say this thing because he already saw so many people talking about it and dragging him. And in all honesty, it is going to be giving you a certain level of privilege to be able to say, "I'm going to threaten you with your work just by voicing my opinion." I saw some comments of people saying that, but white people should be allowed to have their opinion. Yes, they should be allowed to have their opinion. This lady actually voiced her opinion about what DJ Vlad posted, and he threatened her with her work. So it's almost like they did the same thing, but he felt like he's in a position to threaten this woman with her work because they both voiced their opinion. He voiced his opinion, this woman voiced her opinion. This woman did not use any slur word. He did not insult. He just said, "You are white. Stay out of black folks' business." If he had listened, if he had just listened, maybe people will not be coming at him the way they are coming at him now. And one thing black people are going to do, especially when you threaten someone in a way to make them feel like you have power over them or you have more power or more edge over them, black people are going to come together and do what they know how to do best, is to point out to you where exactly you went wrong. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about that tweet? What do you think about what that woman said? Did she say too much? Because there are so many people agreeing to what she said. Like, out of black people business. Like, and it's the truth because it's actually black people business. And I saw so many people talking about, as someone who has benefited so much from this community, you should not be online completely threatening someone because you feel a certain way or because you feel you have a hedge over them. And this is giving farm-colored people's privilege, because if that is not what is given, then who are you to actually threaten her with her work just by voicing her opinion the same way you just did, and nobody threatening you with your work? Let me hear you guys' take on this one. I am going to be in the comment section reading you guys' comments, and I am definitely going to see you guys in the next video. Bye, and I love you guys.